Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Salma's Life. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. We have got 12 matches to go through and I don't want to overwhelm you. So I am back with my Wrestle Kingdom 17 review, which happened today. As everyone can probably agree with me, it was a phenomenal show with some amazing matches. So yeah, let's get down to it. So the pre-show, I'm just going to sort of glaze over a bit. So we had Oleg versus Oiwa in a 3-minute exhibition match. Great way to start, showcasing the future of New Japan. It went to a time limit draw, which we all expected, but really I am so excited to see the future of New Japan. We then had the New Japan Rambo. My god, I lost count of how many people there was. It was truly chaotic. So we started with Sho as the first entrance, Hikuleo, then we had guys from Suzuki-gun, Chaos, Bullet Club, House of Torture. Oddly enough, there weren't any big surprises in this year's Rambo, so people from different companies. It was just guys off the main roster who didn't make it onto the main card. There was nice interaction between them all, so we had Kanemaru and Doki together. At some point, I think some of the wrestlers forgot the point of the show. So whereas when TMDK were in, and one of them was pinning him, they let that happen. At one point, I think Taguchi pinned someone, but Rocky broke it up, not realising that it would benefit him. Now, this is all happening for the match tomorrow for the KOPW, and the final four were Toru Yano, Shingo Takagi, why is my brain going blank? There's two other people, and Sho, and give me a sec, I cannot bloody remember for the life of me who it was. Great-O-Khan! Yeah, Great-O-Khan. I don't know why it suddenly left my head. So they are going to be doing New Year's Dash for the King of Pro Wrestling title. Lovely way to bring in everyone. I got to see Doki with Gino Gambino back on the commentary. I got to hear, it's Doki! He didn't do the Doki Choki, but it was great. And then we had the Antonio Inoki Memorial match. So that was the match between Togi Makabe, Yuji Nagata, and Satoshi Kojima versus Tiger Mask, Fujinami, and Suzuki. A really great match. I think the average age of the wrestlers in this match was about 50, but they were like old dads on a mission. Oddly enough, Suzuki and Tiger Mask worked really well together, even though they are the complete opposite. I got to hear Togi Makabe's entrance music, and unsurprisingly, in the end, the only junior heavyweight Tiger Mask got pinned. It was an amazing match, full of some amazing wrestlers, and a nice way to close out the pre-show. And obviously, it was a nice way to sort of bid adieu to Antonio Inoki, who passed away in October. Now, the main card was phenomenal. We had 7 or 8 or 9 matches, title matches, special tag matches, and it was legit. There was no breaks, which was kind of hard for me, because bear in mind, I'd been up since 6 o'clock. But it was great. We started off with a few short matches. So we had the IWGP Junior Tag titles first. So that was the Empire's TJP and Francesco Akira facing Chaos's Lio Rush and Yo. A phenomenal way to start. The match wasn't long from what it says here. It was about 10 minutes. However, it had everything we needed. So as the Empire walked out to the ring, Yo and Lio Rush got the match started quickly, so flew over the top rope. From there, it was a perfectly dynamic match, showcasing all 4 wrestlers. Bear in mind, we've got 2 huge veterans, a veteran of the junior division and tag division in Yo, and then Akira, who is a very amazing wrestler, but one of the youngest. He's younger than me, that's saying something. Between the 4 of them, there was some amazing interactions. It was fast, dynamic, furious, and for me, the core of it was a tag team match. Considering how new they are, so neither of the teams are over a year old, they worked perfectly together. And I'm glad to say that, like my prediction said, the Empire's TJP and Akira won, using their tandem offense. I am so excited for the future of this team. I think this is their 4th defense, and I think one of the longest title reigns we've had in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how their future is. We then had the Stardom match, so it was the IWGP Women's Championship. In one sense, I'm quite sad. This match went 5 minutes. It was Kairi versus Nakano. And you know what? Nakano is great. She had this cute ring gear and stuff, and she's known as the cutest. But her ring style was amazing. She was fast and furious. Unfortunately, in the end, Kairi got the insane elbow in 5 minutes. And it was all because we all know what was happening. Like all the rumours said, Sasha Banks from WWE, now known as Mercedes Moné, made her debut. She came out and challenged Kairi for the title, and this is going to happen in February, I think, at Battle of the Valley pay-per-view in America, which again, will I have to buy? Probably. I'm sad that obviously the match didn't get as much time as it should have, but this was a huge moment. It's sort of annoying that with all of the tabloids and dirt sheets, we knew it was happening, but it was still amazing to see, Mercedes Moné, I was going to say Sasha Banks, come out, powerful woman, challenging for the title and showing, you know what, she's putting her past behind her and she's finding a new home. And I think Stardom, the IWGP Women's Championship, is the perfect place. We then had another tag match, so that was for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Champions. Again, another shortish match. But personally for me, the match between champions FTR versus Bishamon, so that's Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto, went exactly the right pace. So it started off quite slowly, as you'd expect from two heavyweights, but it picked up speed very quickly between like Cash and Yoshihashi. There was even a bit of high flying. And when you contrast that with Dax and Hiroki Goto's strength, it worked really well. And like I said with the junior tag titles, this was very much a tag team bout. So there was a lot of near falls and breaking up of pins, but I think it more than anything showcased how good the teams are together. They were relying on each other. There were so many points where the match could have ended very quickly, but the person's partner was right there. So Yoshihashi was there to break up a pin. Dax was there to break up a pin. And it meant that, you know what, like tag team wrestling is very underrated, especially in New Japan for me. And this match proves that you don't need longevity or a lot of sparkle and pizzazz to make a match great. It was wholesome to watch, and I was very excited by their tandem offense. Bishamon got the wing and Yoshihashi got the pin. Yoshihashi has got his Wrestle Kingdom moment with his best friend Hiroki Goto. So yeah, that was a great match. Like, you know how much I love the two like Chaos members. I love Chaos. And this is really a new start for the titles, I think. They brought back to Japan. We are now going to see them more. So yeah, you can't complain there. Now, let me just double check what the next match was because I can't remember. Okay, I was right. So the next match was for the brand new New Japan World Television Championship. So back in October and November, we had a tournament, and in the end, out came Ren Narita and Zack Sabre Jr., who were challenging for it. Now, rules are the same as the tournament, 15-minute time limit. It created a sense of urgency, and that's what this match had. I said in my preview that basically Zack and Narita are as close and as similar as you can get with styles. And that was shown throughout the match. So it was a very mat-based technical affair. There was a few bits of like high flying, I guess you could count it as that, and some high risk. But most of it was kicks, trying to get into submissions. And it's the fact that they mirrored each other with the offense that they did. In particular, at one point, they were just kicking each other. So they'd kick each other, and the other would go, right, do it to me now. And yes, there was a sense of urgency there, but it was also like a battle between the old and new. So Zack Sabre Jr. has been in the submission game for years. He is known for it. Narita has come back, rebranding himself as the son of strong style. So that was exciting. I'm happy to say that, again, another prediction was right. Zack Sabre Jr. won the title in just over 10 minutes with a submission, and it is his first singles title, which is shocking to know in 6 years. And after that match, the members of TMDK, so that is Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes, came out. At first I thought, oh wow, okay, so someone going to challenge him. It makes sense. They then brought out a t-shirt, and Zack has found a new home after the disbandment of Suzuki-gun in the Mighty Don't Kneel. Now, at first I thought this is a bit of a weird combination. However, those of you who know Noah will know that this is not a new grouping. The three have a very long history dating back to when all three of them were performing in Pro Wrestling Noah. So I am not only really glad that Zack has a new home, but that he's with two such charismatic and talented wrestlers. Gino Gambino was probably more excited than I was, which is saying something. We then had the Never Openweight title match. Now, I have been a critic of Carl Anderson and his wrestling style. And his match against Tama Tonga, it was more like a prayer circle for Tama Tonga to win. However, it was actually a decent match. So apart from the shenanigans at the start where like Carl threw the belt at Tama and then went out to the outside and basically almost decapacitated him on the ramp, it was a really nice mix of wrestling. The main point of this was the gun stun. We know that Tama and Carl's history goes back years to the start of Bullet Club, and this gunstun was something that Carl initially passed down to Tama. So the fact that they were trying to do it to each other just sort of brought a nice story around. Now, in the end, and I can happily say, again, another prediction right, I was on a roll this year. Tama got the win with a gunstun. Now, the only issue with this match is I don't know whether it was Tama's fault or Carl didn't take it properly, but the last gunstun was very, very messy. And obviously, what should have happened was maybe Tama tried for another one, but Carl didn't kick out for the win. So it was a bit of a sad ending. But yay Tama, he got another Wrestle Kingdom moment, but this time by himself. Now, with a flurry of title matches, they were all about 10 minutes long. We had a nice break in the middle, and that was with the, well, I say break, it wasn't actually a break. It was the Keiji Muto final match, and that was between the members of LIJ. So Tetsuya Naito, Bushi, and Sanada versus Keiji Muto, Shota, and Tanahashi. What do you expect? It was a very fun match, actually. At the start, Sanada tried to go for the moonsault. When Keiji Muto himself tried to do it, Tanahashi was like, no, get down. It was great to see, as I put on Twitter, you can follow me at wrestling_chat, the past, present and future of New Japan, and it was beautiful. In the end, Bushi unsurprisingly got pinned by Shota, giving him a big Wrestle Kingdom moment. Later in the show, we found out that members of Noah came backstage and attacked Naito, so that is something to look out for now. Let me just double check, because I'm very worried that I've missed a match or something. I haven't. So we then started the second half of the show, and because I've got a bit more time and I rushed through the starting matches, we can look into them in more detail. Now, of course, the first matches were phenomenal. In the past, especially recently, people have looked at the opening matches, even if their title ones, and gone, they're all right. This year, I felt like every single match was strong, whether it is the wrestling itself, the storytelling with the IWGP Women's Championship. However, the next three matches prove why New Japan is, for me, the best wrestling company in the world and worth waking up very early and watching an entire 5-hour show. We started with the chaos that was the Fatal 4-Way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, we have said this in the past that when it comes to multi-man title matches, New Japan isn't very well known for it, and it doesn't come across well. Unless it's the juniors. Back in 2018, my first Wrestle Kingdom, there was a Fatal 4-Way for the junior title, which sort of got me hooked on junior wrestling. And this was no different. So we had the champion, Taiji Ishimori, facing Master Wato, El Desperado, and Hiromu. Now, the tensions here have been happening for months. We even had that special show where they had to tag together. And if that chaos was too much for you, maybe don't watch this match, because this one was beautifully chaotic. It started with 4 men in the ring, 4 very different men with both their styles and personalities. I mean, their ring gear in itself was enough to show that. Basically, they threw everything but the kitchen sink in that. There was strikes, submissions, high flying. At some point, there was tandem offense, which they didn't realise. So, Despy and Hiromu teaming together. Hiromu and Ishimori. And obviously, when that tandem offense led to someone getting pinned, that was quickly broken up, because remember, whoever gets pinned first, whoever pins them is the winner. So you don't have to be involved in the decision to not win. My favourite part was when I think it was Hiromu was trying to powerbomb Ishimori. So then Ishimori jumped over, flew into Hiromu, then Despy flew into Hiromu and Ishimori. Then Wato flew into Ishimori, Desperado, and Hiromu, and then Hiromu got into the top of the turnbuckle and flew onto all 3 of them. That was exactly like the pace of the match. It was fast, it was furious. And what was funny, not funny but I guess nice, was that there was a chance that any of them could have won. So at one point in the match, Hiromu and Despy were hitting their finishers, and Wato managed to come in and break that up. Then Ishimori pulled out the ref, came in, hit Wato with a chair, and then almost pinned him. Yet when Wato had this momentum, Hiromu came in, nearly got pinned by Master Wato. Can I tell you, there was a moment where I legitimately wanted Master Wato to win and get his Wrestle Kingdom moment. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Hiromu hit Time Bomb 2 to get the win and become the IWGP champion again. I'm disappointed in the result of the fact that we've seen Hiromu as champion so many times, but I get it. Wato, I don't think he's ready for a title run. Ishimori's title run had to come to an end. And I think there's more to Hiromu and Despi coming up. So it was right. As much as I didn't like the result, the match itself was phenomenal and proves that, you know what, the juniors should not be slept on. And the reason why I have loved them since day one and why my obsession with New Japan started with the 2018 Best of Super Junior tournament. We then went on to possibly the match of the night, the match of the year, the match of the decade, the match I have ever watched. Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Championship. Wow, what can I say? From the very beginning, there was something that made you know it was special. Kenny came out to the One Wing Angel. Ospreay's been talking about bringing back the Aerial Assassin. He brought back his theme tune, Elevated, which when I first started watching New Japan was my jam. It was in my New Japan playlist. I would listen to it almost daily. And that was the pace of the match. So Ospreay used a lot more aerial offense than he has in the past. Similar with Kenny, combining his speed, strength and athleticism. And you could see that both guys were very motivated. Like, they were putting their bodies on the line. There were tables, there was blood. And I almost felt like each time either man got knocked down, they had a renewed sense of energy. Now, definitely without a shadow of a doubt, Ospreay got it worse. He was bleeding like so much. Like, I think it was about in a 20-minute zone, which, by the way, 20 minutes normally feels like forever in a match. 20 minutes went by like that, like it was 5 minutes, proving how good they are. Now, when you're bleeding, that affects you. Like, you lose energy, it's an important thing. Yeah, Ospreay never seemed to back down. At one point, as much as I wanted Ospreay to win, I was like, can't we just end this so he can go back and get himself sorted? But in the best way, like, he didn't do that. He showcased this fire, this passion that we saw in his promo at the press conference. Like he said to Kenny, yes, Kenny, you are one of the best in the world, but Will has been there for 3 years. He almost died. He's battled through illness, quarantined, just so he could wrestle. And he is a leader of New Japan. We saw some amazing spots. So we saw Ospreay hit Omega with a Styles Clash. Apparently there was a Kamigoye in there, but I missed it. There was reversals. There was at one point I thought like Ospreay was going to do it. He hit Kenny with several hidden blades and was going for the Stormbreaker. I was going to say Blade Runner. That's the next match. However, in the end, Kenny got the win with the One Wing Angel. And oh my God, it was a phenomenal match. Like, I was not a fan of Kenny winning the title. To this day, I think Ospreay should have retained. But you can't admit how good he is. And you know what? Yes, Kenny won, but Ospreay was the man of the match. He showcased why he's one of the best in the world, and I couldn't be happier for everything he's done for the title. Hopefully now he's lost the US title, IWGP World Heavyweight Gold is in his picture, but we'll have to see. And it also just showcases the dominance the Empire has had. So yes, Kenny won, and I'm excited to see what happens, but you should never downgrade what Ospreay did because he has been phenomenal. Now, it almost seemed impossible for any match to beat that. And in the sense, the main event of Jay White, so the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, facing Kazuchika Okada, had a very high barrier to set. In a way, so I guess it depends who you are. For me, it perfectly beat it. Not beat it in the sense, it matched it in a very different way. Others will probably disagree with me. So while Kenny and Ospreay was a fierce battle with passion, very much like adrenaline based, Jay vs Okada was very much storyline based. We know the story between them. Back in 2018, Okada invited Jay. Jay said, "I'll betray you." Okada didn't believe him, and that's what he did. They have fought numerous amount of times, but it never gets boring. From the start, you could see there was a contrast. The match started quite slowly, a feeling out process, and Jay was starting with the mind games. Yeah, at one point, those mind games flicked a switch in Okada. And he had this new renewed sense of energy. I keep using that phrase, but that's what it was. And the two were battling. With Gato at the ring, it was something different from what we saw in Ospreay and Omega. There was some amazing offense. So Gato got involved maybe 2 or 3 times, which isn't much considering he's a Bullet Club member. There was some amazing offense. So Okada is such a good offensive wrestler while Jay is defensive. He finds a way to avoid his opponent's offense, and that works for him. There was so much content going into it. but not thrown away. It worked perfectly, and like Ospreay versus Omega, 30 minutes seemingly went by so quickly. It was the ending moments though that were phenomenal. So they were doing each other's finishers, they were sort of finding ways to counter it. So Okada was going for a Rainmaker, which Jay managed to counter into Blade Runner, and I'm getting mixed up with my O's now. Jay hit the Blade Runner on Okada, and Okada actually kicked out. Now, according to people on Twitter, I think Ibushi kicked out of the Blade Runner, but then that makes Okada the second person to ever kick out of Jay's patented finisher. We then saw the guys trying each other's finishers. So Jay tried to go for a Rainmaker. Okada went for a Blade Runner and hit it, which eventually led to him hitting his own Rainmaker to get the win. It was an emotional match for me because I love Okada and I love Jay, but you know I've always had a special spot for Jay. Even though my predictions were right, which basically meant I think I was right in every match apart from Ospreay and Omega. I think it was the right decision. At the end, Jay leant in and almost whispered something. I thought at one point Jay was going to kiss him. Whether it'll come out in the press conference, we'll have to see. Someone said that he might have said, "I'm sorry," but it was a phenomenal match to end. An amazing, probably the best Wrestle Kingdom I've ever watched. Then as Okada was doing his post-match promo in the ring, Shingo came out to challenge. Bearing in mind he has got to fight for the King of Pro Wrestling title tomorrow. He has set a challenge for that. And then Okada ended getting quite emotional talking about Antonio Inoki, and that was the end. Right, I'm just looking at my clock there. Okay, I have done this in just around 20 minutes, which is shocking. And again, it was a very quick review because I could probably talk for an hour about the matches. If you look in the links below, I've posted my review that I've put on Monthly Pro Wrest, so that has things in a bit more detail. But now I've whittled on, what are your thoughts? Like, it was a phenomenal card. Obviously Omega and Ospreay wiped the floor. One of the best matches I've ever seen, but every single match was good. If you give it ratings, everything's above 4. Like, phenomenal storytelling, phenomenal wrestling. So what was your favourite match? What stood out? Was it Kenny Omega? Was there anything that was underrated? Like, for me, I think the junior tag match, the junior heavyweight match, pure beauty. And what were your predictions like? I'm looking and I've legitimately done the best ever. I got every single match right apart from Omega and Ospreay, which is phenomenal. Which wrestler stood out for you and what do you think is going to happen going forwards? Obviously tomorrow we've got New Year's Dash. After everything there, I might do another video looking at what's to expect from 2023 New Japan. But make sure to let me know. Speak to me in the comments, tweet me at wrestling_chat, and let me know your thoughts on New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 17. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It was truly phenomenal, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you like it, hit like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. So many of you guys seem to love my preview video and hit subscribe, so if you're new, hello and welcome to Sono's Life, and hopefully you'll stay with me for 2023 in New Japan. Again, hopefully you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Remember to hit subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!